Then I was approaching 40 and I said, look, for my 40th, I want to do a number of things. One of them was the Abbott World Marathon Major. So I started with London.
Okay.
And for those who may not know, the Abbott World Marathon Majors is a circuit of races by Abbott that constitutes of the biggest races in the world. That is London, New York, Berlin, Boston, Chicago and Tokyo. Yeah. So it's the mother of all races, circuits. So I did London, New York, then I went to Boston. I had a very interesting run in Boston. Actually, I had a hypothermia attack. So there's Boston, then Chicago, then Berlin, then Tokyo.
So, David,
Yes.
You've mentioned something about nutrition during the run.
Yes.
And that long runs require different type of nutrition.
Yes.
There's also nutrition outside the run.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about generally nutrition, how you prepare, how you keep yourself, you're trim, literally. I don't even think there's an ounce of fat on your body.
Yeah.
How do you maintain your nutrition to support your
level of activity?
Exactly, yeah.
Nutrition, they say you cannot outperform a bad diet, regardless of who you are. I tell guys, I give this example. If I burn 1 million calories today, and I take 1,100,000, I'm going to store 100,000. Because if it is not going somewhere, it's being stored. So nutrition is at the heart of wellness.
Right.
One thing in terms of the energy it gives you, also weight issues. So we say that actually there's a nice bag for nutrition versus training, and it says training only constitutes 25%. Like if you're looking at weight management, 25% is workout, 75% is nutrition. And I see that issue with a number of people where you work out very hard, but you also eat wrong foods, foods that spike your sugars, foods that are stored. So for me, the key thing is that everything I put in my mouth needs to have some nutritional value.
Right.
It is not for just to occupy my stomach.
Yeah.
And we say you are responsible for what you put in your mouth. There's no one who comes and forces food down your throat.
Yeah.
My diet is very informed.
Yeah.
I actually take all my meals with me every day. So when I go home, one of the key things, and over time, from my wife and everyone in the house, the food is made according to what I've established over time. So when I get home in the evening, I pack the food. So I've got my breakfast actually, my drinks, because the key thing after every run, I start thinking about the next. I must prepare the body for the next run.
The next one.
And there's a number of things, of course, the stretching, there's the nutrition that gets you recovered, and of course, eventually the sleep. Amongst other things, hydration, you must make sure that you're hydrated. Because if you chronically have depletion of your glycogen, then the muscles will never recover. And that's how eventually it trickles into an injury. So I've got to be I'm very intentional about that. So within that 1 hour, I've taken, I normally sweet potato, or what do you call ngwashe?
Sweet potato.
Doma.
Doma. Yeah.
Doma is arrowroot.
Yeah.
Arrowroot or sweet potatoes.
Yeah. Yes. So just a few pieces, but small pieces, and chocolate milk. Then at about 9 or 10, I'll take the egg and some veggies.
Okay.
With some tea. At lunchtime is normally some protein. It will be probably a piece of chicken or some meat and veggies.
Okay.
And so if I'm not running tomorrow hard, I don't take any other carb. For me, the carb in the morning works.
Okay.
I hardly go out to eat in the evening. And even when I go, if I must go, I'll eat at 5:30. I might take a bite or two, just for aesthetics.
Yeah.
So you talked about because you want to sleep also. What time do you sleep? You're going to wake up so early. What is your...
So a few years ago, I was not very keen on sleep time. So I'd try 5, but 5 would be 4:30. But over time,
5 what?
sorry, hours.
5
hours.
hours.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought, yeah.
Over time,
Okay,
what
yeah.
happens?
Yeah.
You actually realize. I say we are growing old, but you can only keep adding training so much. So you've got to get or maintain from the other aspects of that are not related to adding your mileage, speeding up.
Yeah.
So sleep. I've gotten so much appreciation of sleep, and not that I didn't know, but now I'm intentional just because of I'm losing bonga
Understood
points.
what role it plays.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is very fundamental. They say those little guys that repair our muscles at night, they only come to work when we are in deep sleep.
Those little guys. I like that.
And sometimes and it's the quality of sleep,
Yeah.
not necessarily the amount.
Quality.
You might
Quality.
sleep 8 hours, but
Yeah.
totally disturbed. Even in
Tossing,
aviation,
turning,
we
tossing,
track.
yeah.
Sleep is as the key. Sleep has been found to be a very impactful item in terms of aviation accidents. Also, sleep needs to be at certain times. I only interfere with that sleep pattern probably on a Saturday when I have to do a movie with the family, or such things, but I safeguard those spaces very much. So I might be an odd character.
So what time? You didn't tell us exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
By 8:30, I'm hovering around the bed.
8:30.
Yes,
8:30.
by 8:30.
Wow.
Because the only way I'll get 6 is if I'm asleep by 9.
Yeah.
9.
And then
You wake up by
because
3.
basically 3 is my.
You
wake
you
up.
will find 2:50, 2:45 many times on my watch.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, I have found them. I have
Yes,
seen them.
yes.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
So
Okay.
I have to ask this because I'm sure our listeners are going to wonder. So you don't take alcohol at all?
No, I don't.
You don't?
And I've not taken alcohol in my life. No, I've sipped alcohol. So it's not that I've not tasted or I don't know what I'm missing.
Right.
So I've tasted for the sake of tasting. I've not drunk it. I don't take wine. I don't take those things.
You don't take beer. You
and
just
nothing against them, but of course,
Doesn't work
The
for
only
you.
thing
Doesn't work for you.
I can preach is to take it in moderation.
Yeah.
I've never drunk and stopped, but I've
Yeah.
sipped just for the feeling.
Yeah.
But no, I don't.
You
I
don't.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Then you've also talked of strength training days.
Yes.
How does that play in? Is that part of the pillars of running?
Yeah.
There's nutrition.
Yes.
And then now you've talked of strength training. What are these pillars that actually make up a good runner like yourself?
So strength training is very important for running. In running, you actually need to build a strong core. You are having repeated activities on one leg. You're actually damaging so much. So to be able to take on the running well and be able to power the runs, you need strength. You need a strong core. Remember, you are repeatedly every other time you're on one foot. So that foot is supported by the glutes, is supported by the back, etc. So all those work in unison, and you have to build that strength. But when you're running, you're actually doing a bit of damage to those parts. You need the ligaments to be strong, the muscles to gain strength. So strength training is at the core of running, and it also helps to be able to support. When you're running up hills, when you're doing speeds, you need to have actually very strong muscles to be able to sustain all that running. So it's very instrumental. The issue for runners is how do you blend in the running and the strength training?
Right. Yes.
For me, on the days that I go hard, except Fridays, my long runs are on Fridays. Is when I do the strength.
So David, through your journey, you've now you've started doing events.
Yes.
That now bring the rest of us real recreational people together with your Fitness with David.
Yes.
Rose and I have had the privilege of attending a lot of your events. This year we did the New Year's one, the Ignite one in January, and we did the Nairobi Marathon Relay, which we had a blast, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So how did that start? How did that with Fitness with David come about?
So I started Fitness with David to actually share the lessons from the issues I had, bring the experiences from the things I saw out there back home.
Right.
And then we started by doing small runs, birthday runs, supporting club runs, etc. We have moved that from that space. We started having runs. So we started with the Ignite New Year's run. We did many birthday runs that, of course, we would bring the dynamics of making sure that the support was different than what we used to be. There, it's structured. We have dedicated people working, and they would of course hone those skills over time. And then we move to a space of trying now the lessons learned from the failures, etc., bringing them to be able to help other individuals and even corporates get to the best versions of themselves. So we started engaging corporates in runs. Then, of course, as we go along, we consistently evolve. We want to be able to see what is the next level. So we moved from now doing the little birthday runs. We formed our own runs. So Ignite was the first one. We've got a run where you live. We just did 5th edition. That is 5 years of consistency. And for me, consistency is key. Yeah. You know, we say there are people who have shades of brilliance. They will come and in 1 year, but then they fade away. Yeah. I think for me the key thing is to be able to sustain progressively. And it's not easy. Yeah. And it's better to start small and sustain than just be able to just do something big.
Fizzle away.
Fizzle away. And there are many people like that. Yeah. And we say it's not about the occasional big things. It's about the occasional big things. It's about the consistent little ones that builds up. So that's how FWD has come up. So we started with that. Of course, we also support charities. We are very passionate about charity. Okay. And what we say is that every finish line should also be able to bless someone else beyond the accolades of the medals, the 6-star finishes, the comrades. You want to be able to make sure that you're also impacting others. So I started Fitness with David on Instagram, on Facebook. Now on Facebook, I've got 12,000 followers. And on IG, I think going to 4,000. Of course, now I'm finding the space in TikTok. I only use TikTok to make videos, but now I realize I need to actually put a lot of content there if I'm to attract my Gen Z sons and daughters and their friends, and we want to inspire them as well.
That's the next generation.
The next generation, yes. And I see them, on chat room. Then eventually, then on Strava, I have over 6,000 followers. I go out there and I'm running, and people say, David, we meet in. We know you from Strava. I go to you
the Kahakis of this world.
6,000 is quite a lot on Strava.
It is.
But the thing is, I do post every day. And I remember someone challenged me. I think last year I had 400,000 kudos on Strava, but I had given about 30,000. They said, David, you need to give more kudos than that. I told them, my friend, I give more than kudos. Every day I post. The reason why I've got 400,000 and hopefully there'll be 1 million sometime is because every day I'm not just giving kudos. I'm giving more than kudos. I'm giving motivation. When I post, I'm talking about something motivational. When I'm challenged, I'm the kind of a guy. If I'm going through a rough patch, I'll say I'm going through a rough patch. I'm injured. So I'm not this unique person
who doesn't get injured.
Who just gets it right. So when I'm struggling, and that's how people get to know that. I'm going to run comrades and I'm not being trained. Running. But because you don't want to act like you're special. There's no one who's special.
It's human.
We are all human, and we are all going to go through those phases. So sometimes you are shooting from the hip, sometimes you are being shot. So that is and you can't slap the same way always.
You can't.
Yes.
So David, of course, over this course of time, as you've built up your career in running, not really career, but this space of running. There are those key things that you consider most important that form part of your running, as well as motivational elements of running that you'd want to impart on our viewers, our listeners, as we continue with this conversation.
I think one of the key things that I hold very dear is believing in God. And for me, everything you cannot do. These things are not done by our might. For me to be healthy, it takes God. It's not necessarily what I eat. Those are additional things. But good health is a gift from God. I look at people and tell them, you sometimes think that you don't have much, but if you've got good health, you've got one of the biggest wealths in life. I'm also very strong on taking care of myself, self-care, self-love. I say I am the goose that lays the golden egg. If I cannot take care of myself, you're busy taking care of everyone else except you. You're just draining yourself. So I say I must take care of myself. I'm a better father, better husband, better friend when I'm in a good space. Support system. You must have a support system from family, from friends, from fans, of course, from the team around you is very key. I mean, I've got a team, for example, in FWD, that actually I'm the guy who sets the tone at the top. It cascades down. I'm very key on having the right people in my team. I say it doesn't go wrong, it starts wrong. So to identify the right people, both in running support and at work. Friends, you must have people, the general friends, but they are inner circle friends. Those are people who hold your back. There are many friends. In fact, I joke that some people are your friends because they cannot afford to not be your friends. People can be your friend because of fear or for their own good. So, but you must be able to identify genuine friends. And if you look, I draw inspiration. I give. So I must get some inspiration from somewhere.
Yeah.
So and that inspiration for me, I'm very clear. It doesn't necessarily come from people high up there. When I watch someone struggling to move from coach to 5K, that for me is motivation. And I ask myself, if this guy is putting effort, is there a place I'm slacking that I can improve? Of course, so there's those people who are not, maybe lower is not the exact term, but they're not where I am. Even those give me motivation. So motivation is not just from those guys ahead of you. Just someone trying to work harder than they would otherwise be able to. Now, I also draw it from other people. For me, every minute counts. And when I'm like working out like today, I tell guys, I don't wake up at 3 a.m. to waste time. I cannot be waking up at 3 a.m. and now I'm wasting time somewhere else. So when I'm in the gym, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to Obama's, I'm listening to motivations, I'm listening to Michelle's, I'm listening to Oprah, I'm listening to sports people. Kobe is my guy. Kobe. Kobe. I tell the guys the difference between Kobe and Messi. Messi has a very big talent. You see it in the talent. Kobe had talent. But importantly, he talks about it. He inspires. So on top of inspiring people because of talent and hard work, he also talks about it. He also talks about the difficulties and humanizes himself, makes himself human, and also actually challenges. I know, there's one story about him not passing the ball. And was once asked by the coach. In fact, the guys were saying, I'm open. Then he says, okay, why are you not passing? He says, you get the rebound. You didn't come for training as hard as I train. You go for the rebound if I miss. They used to call him a ball hog. But he says, if you're not training, if you're coming, you're doing bare minimum. Me, I'm not passing you the ball.
That was his
so go for the rebound. So that space of
motivating
others.
So you listen to podcasts when you're working out to motivate yourself.
To podcasts so that I'm motivated. I see what does it take. And when you listen to those stories, there is no one who has had an easy life. And that keeps me going. I also listen to people like Joel Osteen. His preachings are very powerful. Every no should be a stepping stone to your yes. So whenever you have a closed door, you should actually look at it. It should actually fuel. When you tell me no, it cannot be done. Why? I will do it. And you just go away and don't talk about it. Just go and do it. Because we'll always fall. We say we are all in a gutter. Some of us are facing down. Some of us are facing down, seeing the soil. Others are facing up and looking at the stars, seeing the stars. So you choose.
Depends.
So it depends on how you choose your perspective.
Your perspective on things. So also always looking at the next level. I've completed the 6-star. I'm in comrades. There's always another level, and because that's what life is about. You cannot be complacent. You cannot be. We say we go to bed satisfied and grateful, but we wake up hungry. And not that we are not grateful, but we are waking up hungry because as long as you're living, you have to be working towards something.
Right.
And that's the beauty about life.
As we wrap up our conversation, you obviously have some takeaways for our audience. Somewhere in the conversation, you touched on something to do with Sydney 2024. Maybe you can just touch on that. And how does the future for FWD and David Thuo look like?
Yeah, so with Sydney, they want to add, it's a candidate race for an addition to the Able to Out Marathon majors. Of course, I've completed the 6, like I said, there's another next level. And it's ironical that my 6-star has been delayed, but now I actually got into Sydney through what they called good for age qualification. So for my age, the speeds I did over some races qualified me automatically for Sydney with others. But the irony of life is I could have been one of the last people to do to conquer the 6. I hope might be the first amongst the first, together with others, to get to the 7th. Yeah. But it just tells us about the fact that we can take different paths to the same location, and everyone has their time. Yeah. And that is the beauty about life. The takeaways, I say that struggles happen to all of us. Yeah. There's no one who is special. Yeah. It is the attitude that we bring to the party, okay? And for me also, in terms of accomplishments, is not so much about the accomplishments, but what impact do those accomplishments make? Because I'm one individual. So if those accomplishments are just for me, then I guess it's a good thing, but too little in a small space. So if my accomplishments, I'm able to talk about them, I'm able to give the lessons to others to be able to chase their dreams and realize them. I'm able to show people, how can you get this much? That for me is what is impact. So the accomplishments are not about me. And like I was saying, I'm running fast. How much faster can I run as I grow with age? So how do I remain relevant? Encourage others, support others, so that they can also be able to achieve their goals. And one of the key things which I also sort of give you guys kudos is about storytelling. Over time, I learned about the power of storytelling. Yeah. And that is why they say the world is a library. Yeah? And if you pay attention, you learn a lot. You don't even need to read books. Of course, books are important. Yeah. Right. But even what is happening around you is just information. But if you are open, I look, I see. I have ears, I hear. Because you can look and not see. Yeah. So I'm always seeing what is happening. You're always listening. The lessons. I mean, when I see you guys giving these stories, this is a very powerful space.
David Thuo, as we wrap up, there's one challenge I want to put across to you. As you know, we are Baiskeli Stories. Yes. That means that, there's something about the bicycle. Yes. You've talked about indoor cycling, or I don't cycle outside. Yeah. We want to challenge you to a ride outside one of these fine days. Yes. And we'll share that experience with our audience one of the days. Yes. So we want to see you on a bike outside. And
can I balance?
It's a challenge.
It's like swimming once you.
It's a challenge. Say challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. You just have to provide the bike.
Yes, we will.
The road without cars. Anyway.
We can provide both, I believe.
Don't you also run on the same roads?
I do. Exactly. I can jump off though. But anyway, on a light note, not too long. Yes.
A short ride. No, we won't make you suffer.
No, that I'm sure I can do.
Yeah.
David, thank you so much. This has been so interesting. We've learned a lot. So many takeaways. Yes. And we are looking forward to seeing you in Sydney. Well, to watching you. We'll be watching and cheering you on. Yes. But thank you for taking the time to share your story. Yes. For me, the main thing I've taken away, it's amazing. You just started running from not wanting to run to supporting your wife to lose her pregnancy weight. Yes. And here you are doing Fitness with David, doing comrades, just from a simple thing, and doing amazing and even impacting us as well, and many recreational runners. So well done on that, and thank you for coming on Baiskeli Stories. Yes. And we look forward to seeing you again soon after you do your 10th comrades or something. Yes. I have no words about those things, but but thank you so much. We're honored to have had you on Baiskeli Stories.
Thank you as well.
So thank you for joining us on Baiskeli Stories. So this is Baiskeli Stories. Until next time, we'll see you next time.
Next time. Thank you. David.